The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
The man, the myth, the legend. Yup, that's him.
Oh, sugar ducky quack quack.
Just
Yo, what it do? It's your boy Justin the J Will, whatever you want to call me. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope you can hear me real well. Hope you can hear me good. Hear me clearly through your headphones, your speakers, whatever, wherever you may be listening to this. I appreciate you for dropping in, checking in on your boy. Because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with me. So for that, I appreciate it. But what's been up with y'all? Ain't nothing been up with me. Chilling. It's not like I can really do anything else. We had the first ever virtual draft. 100% virtual draft. NFL draft happened last week. And I must say that it was a breath of fresh air given what has been going on in the world, given that we don't have any sports going on. I mean, no NFL, no NBA, no NCAA football, spring games, nothing. No golf, no baseball, nothing. I don't know. Are they still doing NASCAR? Is it NASCAR supposed to? I mean, that's how bad it's gotten. I've actually mentioned NASCAR on the podcast. Has anybody ever watched? I'm serious. Like, when was the last time you just sat down and just said, you know what? I'm gonna watch this NASCAR race. I'm gonna watch all these cars drive around this track for hours. I don't know how long a NASCAR race is. I would imagine, I guess it would be kind of fun. It's nice to see those cars going real fast if you're actually there. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole vibe, being able to see those cars up close and personal go that fast. I can see how that could potentially be a good outing. But watching it on TV, I don't see how that's a good watch. But anyway, all right, enough about NASCAR. So today, I'm talking about the NFL draft. I'm all about the NFL draft. Give you guys my reaction to the picks. Of course, you had one of the most surprising picks, Jordan Love going to Green Bay. That officially puts Aaron Rodgers on notice. Of course, you had Joe Burrow to the Bengals. Nobody's surprised about that. But I'm about to hop right into it. So let's talk. Speaking of Joe Burrow to the Cincinatti Bengals. I think that was a really good pick. I mean, you guys heard it on the last podcast. Me talking about the draft. I'm a really big fan of Joe Burrow. I like what he did at LSU. I really hate the fact that sports in general, like, it's crazy how somebody can improve and we look at that as a knock against them. We use that as a knock against them because they improved. So because Joe Burrow improved from one season to the next, there has to be something up with that. It can't just be because he did bad one year and then he got on this grind. Okay, got a new offensive coordinator. That helps. Got on his grind and just flat out got better. So I don't understand why the skepticism. It sucks, right? It's like, hey, guy that improved. Hey, sales guy who improved his sales from one year to the next. Something must be up. Something must be up. The nerve of you to improve from one year to the next. Oh my God, how can you improve from one year to the next? How can you increase your sales? You didn't sell anything last year, but this year you're selling 50% more than what you sold last year. Your sales are up 70%. Oh my God, you are making us so much money. Like, what's wrong with that? I never really understood that. I guess you got the whole 1 year wonder type, stigma or whatever. And to a certain degree, I get it, but I think that he just flat out just improved. He improved. You know what I'm saying? From one year to the next, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with improving, dog. Like, since when has it become bad to improve? I don't get it. But anyway, Joe Burrow to the Bengals. I really like that pick. I think the Bengals, they went Burrow and then they went T. Higgins in the second round, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not really a big fan of T. Higgins. He all right. He just strikes me as a guy who's going to struggle to separate. Every time I saw him at Clemson, which, I mean, I didn't see a lot of Clemson games, but it just seems like he's just one of those guys. He almost kind of reminds me of, what's that guy's name out of Ole Miss, Laquan Treadwell. Kind of has some of those same worries, as far as like being able to really separate at the next level. But who knows? I mean, it's another weapon for Joe Burrow. I don't blame him necessarily. I mean, he has Tyler Boyd. He's a really good receiver. And then you got Joe Mixon in the backfield. And then you got A.J. Green, who is just hurt every year. But I think he still has something left in the tank. I mean, he's not that old. I think A.J. Green is like 30, has to be 30, 31, something like that. So if he could just stay healthy. I mean, A.J. Green is one of the best receivers in the league when he's healthy and when he's out on the field. So if they can get that together, I think that they will definitely make strides next year, because it's not like they can get any worse, right? I mean, they were the number one. Oh, they were picking number one overall for a reason, because they suck. So with Joe Burrow next year, I'm pretty sure he'll start. They'll throw him right into the fire. Brings up another question. I wonder what's going to happen with Andy Dalton, because he's still on the roster. So do they trade him? Are they going to release him? I got to imagine Andy Dalton feels like he can still play at a high level. And to a certain degree, I agree with that. I think Andy Dalton can definitely start in this league for a team. I know you've heard the New England Patriots could possibly make a play for him. I feel like if they wanted to make a play for him, they would have made a play for him a while back. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Andy Dalton. But I like the pick, Joe Burrow. Solid pick, franchise quarterback. I mean, he just lit it up in college, man. And the thing is, we can't start poo-pooing these guys when they perform against high-level talent, man. Like, it's one thing for Joe Burrow to throw a bunch of touchdowns against Louisiana Tech or Troy or some school like that. But when he's out here demolishing Clemson, when he's out here demolishing Alabama, bruh, I mean, that counts for something. When he's out here demolishing Florida, all those pro talent, bruh, I mean, you got to take notice. And I hate the fact that people try to say, oh, man, well, you look at all the talent around him. But, man, look, bruh, if you are a high-ranking quarterback, okay, you're going to end up going to a school with a lot of talent. That's just what's going to happen. I mean, he can't help it if he ended up transferring to LSU, which, I mean, LSU has a lot of good wide receivers. Look at all the wide receivers that they're putting in the league. I mean, you got OBJ, you got Jarvis Landry, DJ Chark Jr. came into his own last year. I mean, that's just kind of what they do. That's what they've been doing. They put a lot of DBs in the league. They put a lot of defensive linemen in the league. They put running backs in the league. That's just what happens. Jamar Chase, top 10 pick next year. Chase Jefferson, he went to Minnesota this year in the first round, late first round. I mean, he can't help that. I guarantee you one thing. If you put, what's the old boy name from a while back? What was that dude's name? Because, LSU for a long time couldn't. Their problem wasn't running the ball in defense. It was just flat out quarterbacking. They didn't have a quarterback. Who was that guy? Was it Justin Jefferson, number 9? Yeah, put him back there and see if he can beat Alabama, and see if he can beat Florida, and see if he can beat Clemson, see if he can beat Georgia. For real, man. That's crazy. I don't understand why people do that to Joe Burrow, man. But anyway, good pick for Cincinnati. Let's see. So Chase Young, number 2, Washington. Not surprised by that. I think everybody pretty much predicted that. As I've said before, I'm not really that big a fan of Chase Young. I don't think that he will end up being the guy that everybody thinks he's going to be, which is some generational talent, Lawrence Taylor or Julius Peppers type player, surefire Hall of Famer, all pro. I just don't think that. I could be wrong, and I'm not hating on the brother, but I just feel like I've seen this story before. These really big guys, really big, tall, strong, they kind of just, they're just so used to being able to just dominate people just based on their physical traits. But when you come into the league, you got to be able to do more than just be physical. You have to be able to, you know what I'm saying, play the game smart. You got to have some technique. If you think you're just finna go in there and just run around Trent Williams, you think you're just finna go in there and just run around Teron Armstead, UAPB, you think you're going to just go in there and run around Joe Staley. Well, I guess he retired now, but, you know, these top tackles, Tyron Smith, all these guys, man, like, that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. You got to have some moves. You got to be a student of the game. And now one of the things I thought about over the weekend, which plays into Chase Young's favor, thinking about it, is that, you know, they have Ron Rivera as the coach. So Ron Rivera is a defensive guy, and he can coach. He can get the most out of Chase Young. He has that going for him. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just saying I feel like I've seen this movie before with these really big guys, these really big, fast guys. I mean, I've watched a couple Ohio State games. I haven't watched much because it's the same reason why I'm skeptical of Okudah a little bit. I'm a little bit skeptical of Okudah, and I'll get into him with the third pick in a little while. But I just never really saw him. I just don't see him as the guy that they're projecting him to be. I don't know. I could be wrong. Once again, not hating on the brother, not mad at him. If he ends up being successful, ends up being this perennial All-Pro, puts the work in, that's awesome. I hope he proves me wrong. But I'm just not saying it. So, Washington with Chase Young. And then third pick, my team, the Detroit Lions. So, overall, I can say that this is probably Bob Quinn's best draft. I give him that. For the first time in a long time, I can't say that I was dissatisfied with any of the picks. In all honesty, I kind of stopped paying attention after the third pick when they picked the offensive lineman from Ohio State. But I definitely like the first two picks. I like Okudah. Once again, I would have loved for the pick to have been Derrick Brown. That's who I really wanted. But I'm not mad at the Okudah pick. If he ends up becoming a shutdown corner, that's awesome. That's an awesome pick. I really like the DeAndre Swift pick. So that way that can push Kerryon Johnson a little bit, because Kerryon Johnson is actually a pretty good running back. His problem is just staying healthy. He can't stay on the field. And so having DeAndre Swift back there to provide a 1-2 punch, just another counterpart to the running game. And who knows, maybe he eventually takes over the starting role, which I think he's a starting running back. So Kerryon Johnson has officially been put on notice. But I love that pick. DeAndre Swift, Georgia, UGA. Woo woo. Y'all guys know how I love my UGA peoples, even though I didn't go there. But yeah, I was satisfied with the draft, man. I don't really have a problem with the picks. Still going to be interesting to see what the defense does as far as the defensive line. I mean, they drafted this kid out of Notre Dame. I guess his brother's on the squad too. I don't know too much about him, but from what I've read and from what I've heard, Matt Patricia really likes to. He thinks that he can generate pressure off scheme rather than, just having these flat out good pass rushers. So he doesn't feel like he needs a Derrick Brown or just a monster pass rusher off the edge to create pressure. He can scheme pressure and play a man across the board. Whatever. Whatever. I'm trying not to be too pessimistic because this is the time of the year. The only difference is training camps are not gonna happen with the whole COVID-19 thing. But this is the time of the year where everybody feels confident about their team, right? Everybody's confident about their team. Oh my God, we got the steal of the draft, and we got this guy, and our 7th round pick is better than your 5th round pick, and this guy failed, and that guy failed. This is the part of the year where everybody's so confident. All the fans are so confident. The coaches are confident. We got our guy. And, you end up going into the season with all this confidence, and then 5 games into the season, man, Can't wait till the draft next year. It always happens. So I'm trying not to be too pessimistic. I do like the draft picks. I do like Okudah. I do like DeAndre Swift. I like him. Trying to be optimistic. But I feel like I've been optimistic every year. And I'm just going to wait and see. I'm still not that big a fan of Patricia. I don't like him as a coach. I don't think he's a very good coach. Bob Quinn, he did all right. You know what I'm saying? Up until this point, he was just all right. And even then, I don't know. I don't even know if he was all right. He's more of a okay-ish GM. But I like those picks. I was digging those picks. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have anything to say. No complaints. It's just going to be a matter of being able to put it all together. Can they put it all together? Can Matt Patricia put it all together? That's going to be the question. That is going to be the magic question. So Okudah, third pick, and then the Giants. I mean, one of the surprising things about the draft was nobody traded out of the first 10 picks. So everybody was predicting these trades. You know, the Chargers are going to move up to take Detroit's place, and then the Miami maybe wanted to move up so they can secure Tua, or as Rick Ross said,
Tua Tagovailoa.
Man, it's funny when somebody tries to pronounce something correctly and they do it with so much confidence. They really think that they're pronouncing it correctly, but they just totally butcher it. And that's what happened with Ross on that Instagram post or wherever he put that at. But that was funny to me. Hopefully it was as funny to you as it was to me. But yeah, you know, you had a lot of people trying to move up. Well, saying that Miami was going to move up or LA was going to move up to try to secure their quarterback, saying that just didn't happen. And at number 4, you had New York selecting the offensive tackle from Georgia, Andrew Thomas, which was kind of a surprise. A lot of people were thinking that they were going to select the tackle from Iowa, but they ended up going with Georgia, the guy from Georgia. And regardless, I mean, they needed a tackle. They needed protection for Daniel Jones, and they got protection for Daniel Jones. And it's always a good thing when you can protect your quarterback, protect your investment, and, go that route. But that was number 4. Number 5, Miami, Tua, no-brainer. I mean, you select the quarterback, try to secure the quarterback, try to secure your future. I wasn't buying that Justin Herbert stuff. I think Tua was the guy. Everybody knows that Tua is better than Herbert, and that's just the facts. And that was a good pick by Miami, so no surprise there. Number 6, LA. They go for Justin Herbert. Once again, I'm not that high on Justin Herbert. These 6'6" guys, these 6'7" guys, these Brock Osweilers, these Ryan Malletts of the world, these Josh Allens of the world. I'm just not that big a fan. I mean, Josh Allen is more of a running back than he is a quarterback. I mean, I know y'all don't want to say that, but I'm going to say that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think I saw a stat somewhere where Josh Allen has the same amount of rushing touchdowns as Saquon Barkley. Let that sink in. Same amount of rushing touchdowns. Now, I understand Saquon Barkley got injured last year, so potentially Saquon Barkley's numbers, but just the fact that his numbers are on par with them. Even if Saquon Barkley played a full season last year, I mean, just the fact that Josh Allen's numbers are on par with him, even if he was behind 4 or 5 touchdowns. The fact that he's up there and nobody's calling him a running back, but they call Lamar Jackson a running back. But whatever. All right, we not even finna get into that discussion on this episode. We'll say that for another day. And Lamar Jackson has more passing touchdowns than Josh Allen, but Lamar Jackson running back. But anyway, so yeah, they took Justin Herbert, and I'm not a big fan. Maybe he turns out to be something. He gets to stay out on the West Coast. I mean, he went to school at Oregon, so he'll be in LA. I don't know how far that is from his school, but he'll be in the same vicinity, I guess, same time zone. But yeah, they needed a quarterback. And the good thing is, as Arizona showed us with Josh Rosen, which I still think Josh Rosen just got, I remember seeing the analogy somewhere where somebody said, Josh Rosen was given 2 cars with 4 flats. He was, you know what I'm saying? I mean, but at the end of the day, maybe he just didn't have the work ethic. I mean, there were some concerns about his work ethic and whether he really loved football, whether he was a spoiled brat from Cali or wherever East Coast, wherever he's from. But I mean, we've seen organizations with the rookie wage scale and with the way that the contracts are structured now. If you miss on a quarterback, it's not as bad as it used to be. Like, remember with like Matt Stafford and remember Jamarcus Russell, Sam Bradford, all those guys, when they were getting paid $50 million, they were just getting paid an enormous amount of money up front, even though they hadn't played a down in the NFL yet. And so missing on a quarterback that was a lot of money wasted. But now, with the rookie wage scale and with the way that things are working now, it's not that big of a deal if you miss. So you can beat Arizona and draft Josh Rosen and play him for 1 year and then just dismiss him the next year and draft another one. So if Justin Herbert doesn't work out, if they suck next year, well, they'll be in prime position to draft another one, either next year or the year after that. So, I mean, if they drafted him, so they were high on him, and they think that he can come in and be their franchise guy. Me, I have my doubts, but I don't run an NFL organization. But that's Justin Herbert. And then you got at number 7, Carolina. They drafted Derrick Brown, my guy, the guy that I really wanted. I think he's gonna end up making a big impact for them. Let's see here. Who else do I want to talk about? Because I ain't finna talk about all these teams. Arizona, they drafted Isaiah Simmons. Still not that big a fan of Isaiah Simmons. And the thing is, it seems like Arizona always drafts these tweener guys. These guys, these safety / cornerbacks. I mean, Deion Buchanan, they drafted. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu was kind of a tweener, a safety cornerback. And then they drafted Budda Baker. And there was somebody else. I forget his name. But it seems like Arizona's always drafting these tweener guys. And Isaiah Simmons is another tweener. Is he a linebacker? Is he a safety? Is he a nickelback? He can line up everywhere on the field. That's what they say about him. But I just feel like that stuff just doesn't really work in the league, man. You got to pick a position. You got to learn it. I could be wrong. And all I'm going to say is that girl that was in his corner, if that's his girl that was on that TV screen, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's giving him all the confidence that he needs to do a good job because she was a nice-looking young lady. That's all I'm going to say. She had Twitter in an uproar. Really, a lot of these guys. This was an entertaining draft. Just seeing people's houses and people's families and the way that they reacted and the way that Twitter was drooling over some of their girlfriends and sisters. It was interesting to see, man. It was a fun and enjoyable event to watch, if you ask me. From Cee Dee Lamb snatching his phone from his girl, and then you had the lady who was, I guess he was the girlfriend of a player who got drafted, and she was trying to be all in the camera, all in the video, Suge Knight. It was interesting, man. It was fun to watch. I ain't gonna lie. It was fun. It was entertaining to watch. But yeah, Isaiah Simmons, and then Jacksonville, they drafted C.J. Henderson, good draft pick. I don't know what's up with Jacksonville. I guess they are in rebuild mode. They're going to go into next season with Gardner Minshew. Leonard Fournette still on the roster. Got to imagine they may end up trading him. I don't know. Once again, I was never really a big Leonard Fournette fan, but he seems to be a pretty solid running back when he's on the field and when he can actually play, because you need to be on the field to play. But, Leonard Fournette, Gardner Minshew, I don't know what's up with Jacksonville. I think they're just trying to, I guess they just went best player available, and they needed help in the secondary. I mean, they traded away Ramsey last year, and then they traded away Boye, so they don't really have anybody in the secondary that I know of. So ended up going with C.J. Henderson out of Florida. Good pick in my opinion. The Browns ended up selecting a tackle. That's good for Baker Mayfield. Pretty sure he's happy about that. The Jets, I'm not even finna talk about the Jets. Let's talk about the Raiders real fast. So this was a very interesting pick, man, because they selected Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama. A very fast, very dynamic receiver. And a lot of people were thrown off by that. I was too, because Cee Dee Lamb was right there. Jerry Jeudy was right there. Why didn't they select either of those guys? They selected Henry Ruggs. Well, I got a theory behind it. I think, one for one, okay, if you guys know the Oakland Raiders history, you know that Al Davis, RIP, used to love to select fast guys. They love fast. They love speed. He loved to select fast individuals. If you can run a 4.2, Doesn't matter if you could do anything else. If you couldn't even, I don't know, back out the driveway. If you could run a 4.2 coming out the driveway, he would select you. He didn't care. Okay. And that went for cornerbacks. They went for linebackers. They went for offensive linebackers. I remember they drafted this guy, Bruce Campbell. I think he was an offensive tackle. And he ran like a really fast 40. I think Al Davis, his philosophy was, we're going to have the big, strong guy, Jamarcus Russell, right? Remember, drafted him. We're going to have the big, strong guy who can throw it 80 yards with his eyes closed, standing on one knee at a pro day. We're going to select that guy. Then we're going to draft this very fast guy who can go down the field and get the ball. Now, he may not necessarily get the ball all the time because he can't catch, but at least he got there because he ran a 4.2. Remember Darius Hayward-Bay? The acronym for his name was Drops Hella Balls. That's what DHB stood for. Drops Hella Balls. And that's just kind of been in their DNA, I guess. But I think it has more to do with Mike Mayock and John Gruden looking at Henry Ruggs as Tyreek Hill. I think that that's what they're looking at. They're looking at Henry Ruggs as their version of Tyreek Hill. And we see what Tyreek Hill is doing for Kansas City. And knowing what we know now, I guarantee you, if teams knew that Tyreek Hill was going to be Tyreek Hill, they would have selected him in the first round. Minus those issues that he had off the field. You know what? Screw it. Even if he did have those issues, even with those off the field concerns, even with the character issues, I think they still would have taken Tyreek Hill that high. If knowing what we know now, knowing what he has become, knowing that he's a Pro Bowler, he's an All-Pro receiver, even at that size, to be that fast, to be that dynamic, a dynamic returner, knowing what we know now, I guarantee you teams would have taken him in the first round, even with those character concerns, even at that size. So if Henry Ruggs ends up being a reflection of Tyreek Hill, well, then it's worth it. But now if he's more like Jacoby Ford, another Raiders draft pick that didn't quite work out, fast guy, small, even though I think he turned out to be a better returner than he was a receiver. But if he ends up being Tyreek Hill, well then, I mean, can you blame him? I think that that's what it is. I think John Gruden sees what Andy Reid's doing with Tyreek Hill, and he's saying, you know what, I can do that. Give me a guy like that, and I can do the same thing. Watch us tear it up. You got Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill. I'm going to have Derek Carr or whoever. I know they signed Marcus Mariota. I'm going to have Derek Carr to Henry Ruggs III. We're going to have our own connection. And I think that that's why they drafted him, because they see Tyreek Hill. So, you know, Tyreek Hill is opening up doors for these smaller guys. And Tyreek Hill is a really good receiver. Not only can he run fast, but he's one of the few fast guys that can catch. And I think that that's why Oakland opted to take Henry Ruggs III instead of Cee Dee Lamb. I think that has more to do with it than, oh my God, this is just the Raiders and they love screwing up draft picks, or they love drafting really fast guys over the right guy. So that's just my little theory, I guess. And let's look at his teammate, Jerry Jeudy. And he ended up going to the Denver Broncos. And now Drew Lock has a slew of weapons. He has Cortland Sutton, who I really like. You got Sutton, you got Jerry Jeudy, you got Fant. Then they drafted this guy, KJ Hamler from Penn State, who's more of a smaller, faster, dynamic guy, speed guy. And they actually drafted a tight end from Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. Young tight end out of Missouri. So slowly but surely. And they got Phillip Lindsay in the backfield. And I forgot that they had Melvin Gordon. They got Melvin Gordon in the backfield. So they got Lindsay and Melvin Gordon in the backfield. And all of a sudden, Drew Lock looks like he has a lot of receivers to pass those lasers out to. Remember last year he was doing the whole Buzz Lightyear laser celebration. To me, that was kind of corny, but he'll have plenty of opportunities to do that because he has some weapons. And I'm pretty sure they didn't expect Jeudy to be there and for Henry Ruggs to get taken ahead of Jerry Jeudy, but he fell right into their lap, and I don't blame him for taking him because he's a really good receiver and got a young quarterback. Try to surround him with good talent, and that's what they did. Let's see here. Who else we got to talk about? Let's talk about, I would talk about the Falcons, but they selected A.J. Terrell. I'm not a big A.J. Terrell fan. He just screams another one of these first-round cornerbacks that just kind of ends up getting lost, which That's kind of what happens with a lot of these draft picks. I mean, you heard me talk about it earlier a little bit. I mean, it's the time of the year where everybody thinks that their draft picks are better than everybody else's draft picks, and we're going to win the Super Bowl because we selected these 5 guys in the 5th round. And I don't know. It's just sometimes it's like what's his name? The guy that the Texans drafted some years back out of Wake Forest. It just sometimes these guys just get lost. You know what I'm saying? They get selected high and then they just get lost. And next thing you know, you Google them and you look it up on Wikipedia and they've changed teams 2 times and now they're out of the league. AJ Terrell just strikes me as that type of guy. I don't know. I hope he does well. I mean, you saw what happened to him in the national championship game. I'm not going to hold that against him too much because Jamar Chase does that to everybody. Okay? Jamar Chase and Chase Jefferson. I mean, you see how high Chase Jefferson went first round. Jamar Chase will legitimately be a top 10 pick next year. I mean, he flat out gave it to everybody. That SEC murderer's roll, CJ Henderson, he gave it to him. Patrick Surtain II, he'll be a first round pick next year, gave it to him. Trevon Diggs, he was projected to go in the first round this year, ended up going in the second round to Dallas, gave it to him. Okay, AJ Terrell, national championship, gave it to him. Georgia gave it to him. So I wouldn't hold that against him too much, but he just doesn't really impress me. I mean, I think Mel Kiper had him like number 60 or something on the big board. He doesn't really impress me. I think that was a reach. And of course, we see this with teams a lot of the times. One of the more recent reaches that I can think of was Pittsburgh reaching for Artie Burns, and that never worked out. That didn't work out. He didn't turn out to be. He just turned out to be a cornerback that got burnt. Okay, and that didn't work out. But AJ Terrell, Atlanta, not gonna talk about him. Dallas ended up selecting Cee Dee Lamb. Fell right into their laps. Once again, another player that they probably didn't expect to be there. I don't know about Cee Dee Lamb too much. He seems to be a pretty good receiver. I'm just skeptical of these Oklahoma guys, these Big 12 guys, man, that just don't go up against top competition. I just always have cause to pause. I just do. I know you guys are probably saying that I don't like anybody and that I just hate everything that was ever created, but it's not that I hate them. I'm just saying I'm just always skeptical of these guys that don't go up against good competition. The Big 12 is just like that. I mean, everybody's scoring 80 points a game every time. But Cee Dee Lamb, I mean, they're projecting him to be a pretty good receiver. You put him with Amari Cooper, Gallup, and then you got Ezekiel Elliott out the backfield. Dak will be there. Whether he'll be there on the franchise tag or whether they'll have a long-term deal for him, that's the question. But Mike McCarthy, new head coach. Pretty sure he'll have a lot to do with the offense. He'll have his hands in the offense, even though he isn't officially the offensive coordinator, I guess. But yeah, I think that's a good pick, man. I mean, best player available. I can't really blame him for that. So we'll see what happens with it. Let's talk about the Packers. Okay. So that's probably the next big story, the Packers. Let's talk about the Packers. So they selected Jordan Love. Now, this officially puts Aaron Rodgers on notice. I don't think that you take a quarterback that high just to sit him for 3 years. That's what everybody's talking about. Oh, well, that's what happened with Aaron Rodgers. And they drafted Aaron Rodgers. They had Brett Favre, and then they set Aaron Rodgers. No, that was back in the day. Okay? That was back in the day. These days right here, if you select a quarterback in the first round, he finna play. And he's finna play very soon. I understand the Patrick Mahomes. Hey, Patrick Mahomes, he ended up sitting behind Alex Smith for a year. Just a year. Okay? And they got rid of Alex Smith, and they brought Patrick Mahomes in. I don't see Jordan Love sitting for a long time. I mean, maybe a year. I think that they will proceed with Aaron Rodgers this year. But next year, that's in the air. Because he's going to have to come out. He's going to have to take his licks. That's what happens now. You take your licks. And I guess they figured, hey, they're looking at somebody like Lamar Jackson, who a lot of people said wasn't ready. And Joe Flacco just stunk up the joint so much that Harbaugh was forced to make a decision. And it was a good decision because Lamar Jackson seems like he's going to be a really good quarterback. But Lamar Jackson wasn't supposed to start that year at all. They didn't want him to start that year at all because he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. And Jordan Love's not ready. But I think that This year, he'll end up sitting. But next year, it's quite possible that he'll start. And they'll bring him out there, and he'll start taking his lumps. He'll start taking his licks. Because long gone are the days of quarterbacks sitting forever, man. I mean, Daniel Jones, look, he starts. Dwayne Haskins, he ends up starting. I mean, regardless, he's going to get out there soon. He's going to get out there, and he's going to get out there soon. Aaron Rodgers has to be pissed off about that. The fact that they selected the quarterback when they were just one game away from the Super Bowl. All they had to do was beat San Francisco, and they couldn't beat them. They couldn't beat them earlier in the year. Hey, we'll see them again, and then they saw them again, and then what happened? They got beat again. They got pushed around. They got punked. They got beat up. They got their lunch money taken from them. There's nothing they can do. Now, I think part of that was defense getting ran over, but another part of that too is the fact that Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a second receiver. They got Devontae Adams, and that's it. Jimmy Graham is just, I don't even understand how Jimmy Graham continues to get job offers. I guess people think that they're going to get Jimmy Graham from his New Orleans days. Long gone are those days. He's just not, he hasn't been very good. If you can't be productive with Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, dog, I don't know what to tell you. If you can't be good with Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, I don't know what to tell you, dog. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But if you can't be productive with those two guys, I don't get it. But, Jimmy Graham was a failure. Aaron Jones, I like him. He's a pretty good running back. But, Aaron Rodgers needs weapons. He can't carry the team anymore. He can't do that anymore. He can't. Dude's getting old. Dude's like 36 years old. He needs help. And you go out and you draft a quarterback. They go out and draft a quarterback, a raw quarterback at that. Everybody wants to make these comparisons to, Aaron Rodgers. And they did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. But Aaron Rodgers was more pro-ready than Jordan Love was at the time. So Aaron Rodgers was further along as a pro prospect than Jordan Love is right now. You get what I'm saying? Jordan Love is still pretty raw. And this is the Patrick Mahomes effect. Look what Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes. They drafted this raw guy who can really fling the ball. And look what happened. They got him with the right coaches. They got the right personnel around him. They sat him for a year. And look what happened. He's like the best quarterback in the league. But I don't see that with Jordan Love. From what I've seen from just the highlight reel, it doesn't really impress me. It's something to be said when your highlight reel doesn't impress somebody, right? Because that's the point of the highlight reel, to make yourself look as good as possible. The thing about highlights, man, highlights can make anybody look good. Just being honest. I mean, you can look on YouTube right now and look up Nathan Peterman highlights from college. And that will make you believe that Nathan Peterman is a first-round pick and he's going to be a franchise quarterback. If you didn't know, if we never knew what Nathan Peterman was, if we never knew his name, and we just looked at his highlights online, we'd be like, man, he looks like he can be franchise quarterback. I mean, he looks pretty good at Pitt. He's looking pretty good. Look at those darts. Look at the accuracy. Look at the scrambling ability. Look at that arm. But, of course, he ended up being very bad. And so, can't always trust the highlight reel. Can't always trust the highlight tapes. But I don't know what's going to happen with Jordan Love. But I do think that he'll be starting sooner than later. And we can end up seeing a situation where Aaron Rodgers, he ends up going to another team next year. They're going to give him this year because they were so close last year. I mean, all they had to do was beat the 49ers. They couldn't beat them. I mean, I'm saying that like that's a small task, like the 49ers a week. I'm just saying they were almost there. And I don't think that Aaron Rodgers was the reason that they lost. They could have, went and retooled and grabbed some more weapons so he could have more weapons to go up against a solid defense like that to stand a chance. But if you just have Devontae Adams, they take away Adams, there ain't too much they can do. Take away the run, ain't too much they can do. So Jordan Love, he'll be starting sooner than later. I don't really like the pick. I really would have liked to have seen them invest in Aaron Rodgers a little bit more. Maybe invest in the defense some. I don't know. But they didn't. The reason why they didn't make it to the Super Bowl last year wasn't because of Aaron Rodgers. And I don't see Jordan Love as the guy that you had to move up to take that bigger risk on. But as I said earlier, missing on quarterbacks now is not what it used to be. So they miss on Jordan Love. It's not that big of a deal like it used to be. So Maybe they felt like, okay, well, we got this guy. We think that we can coach him up. We think that we can coach him up and we can make him into an all-star, make him into a Pro Bowler, make him into Patrick Mahomes, being on that level, an elite quarterback. But I'm not buying it. I'm not really into Jordan Love. I think that was a mistake, and I think Green Bay will end up paying for it. Now, as a Detroit Lions fan, I love that because I'm pretty sure, like most Detroit Lions fans, we are tired of getting schooled by Aaron Rodgers year in and year out. I'm just tired of it. So if they can miss on a quarterback, that's awesome. We will take it. We will take it all day. But yeah, that's it for me, man. That's all I got for today. Hope everybody enjoyed my thoughts and my opinions on the NFL draft. It's closed. Put a nail in it. It's done. It's over with. But very excited for this new season, and I hope you guys are too. As always, be sure to follow all the social media handles in the description, the YouTube, the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff, man. So until next time, as always, count your blessings, not your problems, and I'm out. Peace.